chess friends, I hope you are doing well. Today, I have a brand new chess engine named Dr. Chess AI, who has recently been published to compete in chess events. I played against him and performed surgery on the doctor because I had to go to the doctor for my liver issues. This game is very prophylactic because I played amazingly, and we performed an operation on this chess game. This game is very interesting, so stay tuned until the end of the video. I started the game with d4. The doctor played knight to f6, deploying to control the center. In a few moves, we have e6. The doctor wants to push his center pawns forward to open up the dark squared bishop's diagonal. However, at this position, we have d6 on the board. This d6 move blocks the bishop's diagonal. So why did the doctor play this move? It blocks his own bishop's diagonal. We have e3 and h6 on the board. It is quite difficult for some chess players to understand why black is trying to play like this. He has placed all the pawns on the 6th rank, especially the dark squared pawns. When my bishop is located on f4, the bishop cannot retreat due to the e3 pawn. We have h3 on the board, and now it becomes quite evident that the doctor has staged this plan where he played g5, forcing the bishop to move. This move clearly connects to the idea of playing d6 earlier, as it protects the e5 square. The bishop cannot move to g3 because there is knight to h5, forcing my bishop to retreat to h2. The doctor gets the opportunity to push his pawns forward, and with the rook injection to g8, he can invade my king side. Now, knight to d7 is played to control the center. We have c3 on the board. This c3 move is very prophylactic as it blocks my knight from going to c3, but also opens my queen's diagonal. I want to play knight to d2. A few moves later, the doctor plays b6. He wants to perform a brain surgery on inferior human chess players, questioning why humans are inferior in chess. The doctor could move back his knight or put it in a favorable position to push the f5 pawn forward and continue advancing on the king side with rook to g8, by playing bishop to b7. He gains control over the diagonal. Later, we have rook to g8 on the board, setting the stage for g4 to arrive, pushing the f5 pawn forward. After queen to e2, h5 comes onto the board with the idea of playing g4. We have long castling, and bishop to b7 appears on the board, activating the sniper from the mountain hill. The knight slides back to protect the pawn and sets up the move f4. The bishop's diagonal is open, and the doctor could consider bishop to h6 to check the blood group of the bishop. If any pieces need support, the bishop can give it. However, the doctor plays a5, which doesn't make much sense as it gives me control over the b5 square. My knight can reach b5, which isn't a favorable structure for black. We have e4 on the board. This e4 move is very prophylactic as it sets the stage to open up the d or e file, striking in the center with my pawns. The bishop's diagonal is open, and the rook can move to e1. All my pieces are in excellent positions. We have h4 on the board. The doctor closes the structure and gives me the open g4 square, but he also has the chance to make a cardinal operation in the heart of the chessboard with g4, where the rook and bishop can open their files and diagonals. The problem for the doctor is that my king is not located on the king side. What will you do, doctor? You have no options. A few moves later, when castling happens, both kings are eyeing each other, like sparrows and eagles competing in the sky to see who is faster at flying. But hold on, I have something special for you. The move is b4, striking on the queen side immediately. The pawn on a5 is under pressure, and knight to c4 could also arrive to increase the pressure. We then have pawn exchanges that open the c file for me. The doctor's problem is that most of his pieces cannot protect the king side. The pawn structure is the only defense shielding the king from my storm. This pawn structure is like an umbrella trying to protect the king, but the problem will persist because I can push my a pawn forward. My active bishop and knights can create nightmares for the doctor. My rook can go to b1, and this position will just collapse for black. The doctor tries to strike me with g4, attempting to open the file, but hold on, I have something more special for you, an even crunchier and spicier attack with a5, targeting the pawn. Many players might think of capturing the pawn on h3. Let me show you the variation. However, this is a very bad move. Like a nonsense suggestion from Levy, you can push your a6 pawn forward, forcing the bishop back to a8, and then capture the pawn. The problem for black is that the king will be harassed, by playing king to b2. My rook can go to a1, gaining access to the file. There are two possible moves black might consider. A 69 IQ chess player might think of rook to b8, but this will destroy black's position. You might think you can escape with the king all the way to the airport line, but hold on, there is rook to a1 to crush you, followed by bishop to a6. The king will be paralyzed. The king cannot go to c6 because of queen to b5, and after the king moves elsewhere, bishop to c8 leads to checkmate on the spot. The game will be over. Returning to the main variation, we see that any unnatural move, such as capturing the pawn, would be a terrible choice. Because the pawn is coming down to the earth to kill the bishop mercilessly, after the capture occurred on the a5 square, the b file becomes wide open. Here, a6 can come into play, the bishop has an open diagonal, and the knight can always go there to create nightmares for you. The rook can join on the a file, and another rook can go to the b file. That's my plan. All these approaches can arrive, and I can strike you in the center. I also have a dark squared piece on the diagonal, and that's the problem you are facing. We have bishop to h6 on the board to pin down the knight. The doctor is trying to seize some of my pieces to slow down my attacks, but hold on, I'm Stockfish. No doctor, no engineer, no businessman or any kind of joker like Levy can defeat me. Nobody can defeat me. At this point, I am protecting the square, and this dark squared piece is very important for me, as it is under threat by the knight. Therefore, I just move my bishop back to g1, gaining access to this diagonal. I will push forward my pawns like this and that, and this bishop will help me create some pressure on the queen side, right? We have a7 finally on the board, where bishop to a6 can arrive, and this position is very terrible for you because all your rooks, knights, and queens cannot protect the king side at all. The bishop is the only one protecting the king, and the king cannot jump off the rook. The knight, as if mocking the king, shows the middle finger and jumps off the pawn with knight to b6, creating some space for the king to breathe. Now we have f3, indirectly attacking the knight. A few moves later, you can see that the pawn is under attack by the king, but the problem for the doctor is that he will face many troubles and malarials with my pieces. My bishop and knight can work together. For example, if black dares to capture the pawn on the a7 square, it will be a terrible mistake because I can perform surgery with the rook. With rook to a1, the knight can arrive with the possibility of knight to a5, the bishop can go to a6, the queen can go to b5, and I can push forward the pawn. All my pieces will attack the knight on the b6 square. When the king tries to escape, chess players, including humans, often show an escapist mindset. When they face problems, they try to escape and ignore them. That's what people do in life. They try to hide from challenges by listening to music or doing unnecessary things. At this point, I can capture the bishop on c6 and finally play d5. After the king moves, I will play b5 check, and your king will have no escape route. The king must retreat. And I will capture the knight on b6. Your queen will face problems, and you will have lost one piece. The king will be terribly located, like a crocodile waiting to strike. My rook can come to c1 or any other favorable square. The knight can go to d6 to attack you. The situation will be over for you. So, let me share an inspirational quote in sudden with you. Never give up on what you really want to do. The person with big dreams is more powerful than one with all the facts. Going back to the situation, we discovered that capturing the pawn on a7 would be a very bad choice. That's why we have knight to h5 on the board. The knight is trying to gain access to the dark squared diagonal, but I have no issues with this. Doctor, if you want to attack me, just attack me. I know that if an enemy stands with a knife and tries to cut my stomach, he has bad intentions. But if a doctor has a knife and tries to cut my stomach, it means he has good intentions. That's why I will play bishop to a6 check, attacking the king. The black king cannot go anywhere because queen to b5 will follow. Even if the king has no square, you must capture the pawn on a7 and the queen will go to b5, where the pawn push on d5 can attack the knight. The black king will be in a hopeless position. The doctor is facing major problems. as he has his own kidney disease and heart disease from checking the patient's organs. After the king moves back, we have knight to c4, attacking the knight with my queen. The doctor finally captures my rook because he has no other choice. You can call this a rook sacrifice. Now we have d5, I am interested in your knight, and your queen cannot protect it. The knight is attacked by many of my pieces, the bishop is controlling the diagonal, and the rook has an open file. This position is completely lost for you. A few moves later, after the knight exchanges, it's not queen takes b6 because the bishop can block it. The move I played is bishop takes b6, a prophylactic move because the rook is under attack, the bishop is controlling the diagonal, and the king is paralyzed. How can he protect his position? The doctor first played bishop to g7 check, forcing my king to move. Here you can see that the rook is under attack, but the problem is that if you dare to capture my rook, it will be a miserable condition for you. Now I can capture the rook on d8, attacking the king and queen simultaneously. This position will be over for you. Going back to our reason, we discovered that capturing the rook is a very bad choice. That's why the doctor played rook to d7, trying to protect the 7th rank with the idea of bishop to b7. This position will be over for you because knight to b4 will arrive. The position is completely dominated by my pieces. Knight to c6 can follow. Now look at this position. If black plays bishop to b7, trying to protect his position, I can exchange the bishops and play queen to a6 check, followed by knight to c6. Leading to a checkmate. The position will be over, and, doctor, give me back my money that you promised at the start of the game, that if I win, you would give me all your money. Going back to our reason, we discovered that rook to d7 is a very bad choice. That's why the doctor brilliantly played bishop to b7. The doctor is very smart. After the capture, we have rook to b1, attacking the bishop. The king is again in trouble. If rook to d7 happens on the board, we have knight to b4, after the king moves to c8. If that happens, I will play knight to c6, attacking the queen. There is also the possibility of checkmating you on b8 if you dare to capture my knight on c6. After the capture, I will check with queen takes b7, leading to checkmate. The position will again be over. Going back to our reason, we discovered that playing any normal move, such as rook to d7, would be a very bad choice. That's why we have two slides here, and after the exchanges occur, you can see that at the end of the day, we have equal material. Now let's see what happens next. The problem for the doctor is that his king is just paralyzed on the board. He has nothing to do in this position, and I just give him some checks, and more repetitive checks. However, I don't want to let the game end in a draw. There is rook to b5 that can arrive and check the black king, allowing me to win some material. Therefore, the doctor has to give some checks and capture the rook. In the end, I have two extra pieces, which means I am completely winning the game. I finally promoted a pawn into a new queen and checkmated the doctor. The doctor came to perform surgery on me, but I gave him my own treatment. I hope you enjoyed the game very much. If so, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Wishing you all the best. Bye bye, take care and see you soon.